It's disappointing, but it's also just disgraceful because he knows better. He was a prosecutor for a long period of time in the Department of Justice in the Southern District of New York, and he was a good prosecutor. He followed the rules. I didn't even know he was Republican, if he is. He just did his work. He became a supervisor. He was very well respected and well liked. He knows how the Department of Justice is supposed to work. And literally everything that he is doing at this point is the exact opposite of how it is supposed to work. And I'm shocked that it is worse than Pam Bondi, but it is way worse. He is willing to literally do anything Donald Trump asks of him. Law, consequences, be done.
Well, that then really kind of puts the spotlight on the Hobson's choice that he has to make with respect to all of this. And the Washington Monthly put it this way. Blanche faces a Hobson's choice. Reject the giveaway, and Trump will never give him the top job or fire him. He could go the way of Jeff Sessions, Bill Barr, or Pam Bondi in the dustbin of history, or support the steal, and he won't be confirmed by the United States Senate. Which does he choose?
Well, right? At this point, I can't say anything I know about him, but he is so clearly going down the Trump loyalist route. And up until the slush fund, that was the right route because the Republicans had no spine. And even though we saw over and over and over, and whether it was the Comey indictment, the SPLC indictment, I mean, these things are atrocious. They are embarrassing for any prosecutor. And the Republicans just sat there silently watching. And we have a hearing in Congress, in the House, on the SPLC about how terrible they are. So, this indictment that they filed is an absolute abomination. So it was the right choice. But now, all of a sudden, the Republicans apparently have found their bottom. A make-believe $2 billion slush fund for Donald Trump's rioters and seditious conspirators to give them however much money in secret. That now we found the bottom, guys. We found it.
Maybe, because I don't think it's clear yet that this is going away. And I think it is notable that the sort of get-out-of-jail-free card is still being written for the president and his family.
Oh, well, that is for sure. And I think we will have a lot to say about that part of it. And let's just take a step back and remember, this settlement has nothing to do with the lawsuit.
Can we even call it a settlement at this point?
It is not a settlement. It is an agreement between Donald Trump personally and the Department of Justice that he supervises without any regard to the court case. Now, the judge has reopened the case because it was so obvious that they used this as a ruse and that they tried to avoid the judge. But right now, as this stands, there was never a court case. They withdrew it. And this is essentially just a settlement, agreement, whatever you call it, made up out of whole cloth. And it is the Department of Justice telling Donald Trump that he, his children, his family, and his businesses can literally do whatever they want with their taxes.
But they're above the law.
I was just saying, Simone, when he lists it out that way, it's just like our little bucket. This is all for us. It's protected and covered, and you can't touch it.
It is just so crazy. I believe that they actually haven't found the bottom. They found pushback, I would argue, Congressman, because the Republican voters, Democratic voters, anybody who has put gas in their car have been at the pump when being asked by our MS Now colleagues, what do you think about what's going on in Washington? What do you think about this slush fund? And they're like, we're struggling to pay our bills. The president has told us there's no money for health care. I'm going to keep repeating it. There's no money for NPR. You know why? Because he cut it. There's no money for PBS. What did Elmo do? I'm going to continue to ask. There's no money for all of these things, child care, so on and so forth. But somehow there's $1.8 nearly billion for people who took up arms against the government to halt the certification process based on a lie told by the president. Your morals are very out of whack, but your priorities are misplaced, and they met pushback, and now they're like, oh, okay, we didn't mean any of this. But
it goes to show, but it is true, and I agree. We have no idea whether it's the bottom, because I agree with Michael as well that Donald Trump doesn't care. Donald Trump only cares about what he can get away with. Right. And so he will continue to push and pull on all of this stuff. But you're absolutely right about the gas prices and the health care. But think about something else. One of the Capitol Police officers, Sergeant Aquilino Gonell, was beaten so badly on January 6th that his foot was mangled, his leg was mangled. He had to retire because of his injuries. He has not been able to get disability payments. And now Donald Trump has trying to set up a slush fund to literally pay the people that beat this police officer. It is beyond comprehension.
But that is so Trump. That is so Trump to do stuff like that, because it's always focused on the people. That's the loyalty piece that he sort of puts out for folks. This is the payback for that. This is the their reparations, if you will, for what they did. And it really irks me, obviously. I think it irks a lot of the American people. Tonight we have big elections in California and Jersey and Iowa and places like that. This fall, huge elections around the country. How do you think the country settles on everything that's coming down the pike? The gas prices, the grift, the gaming, the insurrectionists being lifted up and foisted out as heroes, and the economies that, not just the personal economies, but the economies of communities in the country, stagnant, no growth, no opportunity. My son's over in the Middle East fighting a war that I don't know why he's there.
Cost $1.5 billion a day. Look, when you talk about politics, and you guys have been doing this a lot longer than I have, but there's usually one thing that you can go back to. What Donald Trump has done to these Republicans in Congress is he has literally taken away every single possible argument they could make to their constituents about why the last 2 years have been good. And we didn't even add in the immigration stuff, which is just, which used to be his thing and is so outrageous and unlawful, unconstitutional, un-American. And so you have it at the kitchen table issues. You have the corruption and the grift by him. You have weaponizing the Department of Justice and terrorizing our immigrant, not just our immigrant communities, any black and brown American community, whoever it is. And he doesn't care. So I really do think that my colleagues in the House are petrified about what's coming their way, because the additional thing, as you pointed out, is Donald Trump doesn't even seem to care. I think he recognizes he's losing the majority, and he is basically taking the next 6 months and doing everything that he possibly can to line his pockets, to take care of his cronies and his loyalists.